Hi, I'm Paul Krismer, a positive psychology expert. Did you ever hear Wayne Gretzky talk about going to where the puck was going to be? He clearly had an ability to see more of what was happening on the ice than perhaps any other player ever. He seemed to see everything, and as a result, he had uncanny anticipation. He had what could be called situational awareness. In this third video about mindfulness, we're going to talk about situational awareness. The concept can be somewhat hard to grasp, but we all know it when it's absent. When someone is not situationally aware, they can quickly find themselves in serious trouble. If they cannot assess the reality of their circumstances, they may be vulnerable to all kinds of hazards that aren't in their conscious awareness. This can take the form of obvious knowledge gaps. For example, a new worker may not know about the mechanical function of a machine that he or she has never seen before. In this case, the worker is not situationally aware and therefore at risk. This kind of absent situational awareness is easily understood. A more subtle form of situational awareness is perhaps much more pervasive. This is when we may know the risk associated with a task, but we are so routinely engaged in this task that we simply have our attention elsewhere. For example, we may know that setting the choker on a log has numerous potential hazards, but in the moment of actually doing the work, our mind is distracted and not considering hazard identification. We can become numb to the danger of our work tasks. I don't need to tell you just how serious this momentary inattention can be. I recall an incident that I became personally involved with when a veteran logging supervisor walked right into the bite of an operating grapple yarder. A 2-ton log struck him fatally. As investigators, we knew there was really only one explanation. This unfortunate gentleman was not situationally aware. Now, from an intellectual perspective, he clearly knew the hazard, but in the moment of his death, his mind was clearly distracted and his intellectual knowledge was effectively absent. Now, you can overcome the absence of situational awareness by learning to be mindful. Mindfulness is a set of learnable skills that bring attention to the present moment, to what's actually happening, not distracted by mental chatter. If your mind is stuck in thoughts and feelings, then how can you be fully present to the tasks that you are required to perform? Now, no one's at fault for having a wandering mind. It's normal, but we can all learn skills that bring our minds under our conscious control. We can learn to be fully aware of the present moment. These mindfulness skills include meditation, which is arguably the gold standard for developing present moment awareness. A meditation practice is something I could teach, but in this short video, I want to show you some proven techniques that are shortcuts to effective mindfulness. What you'll learn here are sort of like Jedi mind tricks that provide big results exactly when you need them, in the moment, in the now of your work. Let's quickly review the skill that we learned in the last video. When we breathe in slowly and breathe out even slower, it signals our body to calm down and become even more present with what's actually happening in the moment. If we simply breathe in for a count of 4, pause, and then breathe out for a count of 5, we naturally become more grounded, calm, and attuned to what is happening in the moment. Another technique is something I call noticing. This mindfulness skill is a deliberate searching for visual cues to a correct work procedure. When you're performing a routine task, can you see the physicality of your work procedure? For example, if you're on the line in the sawmill grading lumber, can you notice the posture of your hand as you lift it, direct it forward, and force a mark on the wood? Can you study your body movement as though seeing it for the first time? Consider your own routine work tasks. What body movements could you be looking for as a cue to correct work procedures? Now, the purpose of this exercise is to ground your mind in the present moment performance of your work task. You cannot be both noticing the precise movements of your hand and replaying an argument with your spouse at the same time. By considering deeply the physicality of your body movements, you necessarily are present mentally in your task. Consider the skill of noticing in another environment. Maybe a faller who's walking to the base of the next tree that he's going to bring down. He can bring noticing into his work. he must consciously place this noticing into his routine. For example, as he comes to the spot where he'll do the work, he can prepare to place his jerry can of gas on the ground, but first noticing the texture of the surface that he'll put the can down on. Any distracting thoughts that had been on his mind as he approached the tree are now superseded by the present moment awareness of the texture of the ground. This simple technique clears his mind at a critical time when he must be fully present, performing hazard assessments of the tree, the forest canopy, and the terrain that has become his temporary workstation. Can you see how our minds cannot be on other thoughts when we are noticing fine details about the work process that we're engaged in? This Jedi mind trick puts us firmly in the present moment. A third technique is similar to the prior two. I call this one microtasking. Now, microtasking is taking a known and common movement and breaking it down into much smaller tasks. Some of the most unusual and talented monks use exactly these techniques to master martial arts. Shaolin monks train for hours every day, splitting large body movements into incredibly small pieces. To provide a simple example from our everyday lives, consider what it's like when you walk. Can you see how your left heel rises, then your left foot lifts, the foot swings forward, your heel touches down, and your weight is taken across the whole of the foot. And now the right heel rises, and the right foot lifts, and the right foot swings forward, and the heel touches down, taking the weight of your body across the whole of the foot. And of course, then the left heel rises. Could you use this mindfulness skill in a routine task that you perform over and over? If you think about it, I'm certain that you can. Breaking down your work into micro tasks changes the emotional quality of your present moment awareness. Instead of a boring routine that you've done thousands of times before, now you have curiosity. Instead of operating on unaware automatic mode, now you can be focused and step out of mindless distraction. The principle is the same as with the other techniques. Your mind cannot be both wandering with distracting thoughts and feelings and be clearly focused on the microtasks that make up your bigger body movements. Now, the three skills that you've learned today, longer out breaths, noticing, and microtasking, are like any other skill. You get better at them with practice. Their effectiveness multiplies over time. And with all three skills, you'll be more focused and attentive to your present moment tasks with regular practice. So be like Wayne Gretzky, be situationally aware. Take some time now to consider and discuss with your team how you can apply what you've learned. What tasks of yours could you use the noticing technique with? What routine physical activity of yours could be broken down into micro tasks? This video has been brought to you by Safer. Thanks for watching.